Here are the video solutions for the City and Guilds Level 2 Functional Skills Maths. This is sample 3, section 1, where we're not allowed to use a calculator. Okay, so question number 1, 531 times 1.4. So what I would suggest doing is multiplying together 531 and 14. Forget it's a decimal to begin with. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times by 3 is 12, so that's 2 carry 1. 5 fours are 20 plus 1 is 21. Moving on to the 1. This is the 1 of 10, so put in a 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 1, 5 is 5. So add these together. 4, 3, 4, 7. So 5, 3, 1 multiplied by 14 is 7434. So therefore 531 multiplied by 1.4. We now have one decimal place in the question, so we need one decimal place in the answer. So I need to put the decimal point in front of that final number to create that one decimal place. So 743.4. Question number 2, 5 to the power of 4. That equals 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Now what I would recommend doing is this. 5 times 5 is 25. So the question is now 25 times 25. So more long multiplication. 5 5s are 25, carry 2. 2 5s are 10, plus 2 is 12. Moving on to the 2, it's the 2 of 10, so put in a 0. 2 5s are 10, 0 carry 1. 2 2s are 4, plus 1 is 5. Add these together, 5, 2, 6. So the answer is 625. Question number 3. The following diagram shows a parallelogram. This question is relatively okay if you know some key properties about parallelograms. These two angles here add up to 180. So 180 take away 110 is the value of angle A. 0 minus 0 is 0. 8 minus 1 is 7. 1 minus 1 is nothing. So A is 70 degrees. Which one of the following works out to the largest number? 3/4 times 8 is the first one. So here we're working out a fraction of an amount. So I'm going to take my total, divide it by the number on the bottom, multiply by the number on the top. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So this equals 6. 2/6. I'm going to make this a little bit easier by simplifying this to 1/3. So what is 1/3 times by 12? Well, that is 12 divided by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3/2 of 10. So again, it's exactly the same for all of these questions. It's a fraction of an amount. So take your total, divide by the number on the bottom, multiply by the number on the top. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. And finally, 3/12 of 36. So that is 36, divide by the number on the bottom, which is 12, multiply by the number on the top, which is 3. 36 divided by 12 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So the largest answer is 15, so the answer must be C. Question number 5. What is 52% as a fraction in its lowest terms? Well, percent means out of 100, so this means 52 out of 100. We have two even numbers, so we can divide top and bottom by 2. Half of 52 is 26. Half of 100 is 50. We still have two even numbers, so divide by 2 again. 13 and 25. Now 13 is a prime number, so I can only simplify this fraction if 25 is in the 13 times table. 25 is not in the 13 times table, so the final answer is 13/25. Question 6. What is the chance of this being the winner? Well, the diamond only turns up once, so it's once out of how many sections are there? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the probability is 1/12. Question number 7. Which calculation gives an approximation of the area of this circle in square centimetres? Well, the formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared. So that is 3.14 times 3.92 times by 3.92. But we want an approximation, so why don't we call pi 3 and call 3.92, call that 4. So 3 times 4 times 4. Now all of the answers feature 3 times something. So what is 4 times 4? 4 4s are 16, so 3 times 16, which is option C, 3 times 16. Perfect. Question 8. Now this is a question about bid mass, the order of operations. Now we don't have any brackets, but we do have some indices. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. So the question is 8 minus 16 divided by 8. Notice it's the whole thing divided by 8. So what we need to do now, it's almost as if the 8 minus 16 is in brackets. Now we're subtracting a larger number from a smaller number, so this is going to be a negative value. Well, 16 take away 8 is 8, so 8 minus 16 is going to be negative 8. So the question is now minus 8 divided by 8, or 8 divided by 8 is 1, so minus 8 divided by 8 is going to be minus 1. So a bit confusing that one, but due to the negative numbers there. Question number 9, what are the coordinates of the line where the star is? Well, remember that for coordinates we need to do the horizontal first, so we're going across to this point here, which is 5, and then down to negative 3. So that is 5 minus 3, which is answer B. Question number 10, which of the following is the front elevation? So we're looking at the house from the front, so that means we will see the big house here with its roof, and the, whatever this is, the utility room off to the left. So we can see that already just from that basic bit of information, it's not A because it's got the utility room on the right. B and D don't have a utility room, so it's therefore C. Question number 11. A commuter uses a bus and a train to get to work. The train is more than 5 minutes late 1/6 of the times they use it, and it's more than 5 minutes late 3/5. The bus is more than 5 minutes late 3/5 of the time they use it. So what is the probability that both the bus and the train will be more than 5 minutes late? Well, here we just need to multiply these two probabilities together. So when we're multiplying fractions, we multiply the top. 1 times 3 is 3, and we multiply the bottom. 6 times 5 is 30. But this fraction can be simplified. We have two numbers that can be divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So the probability is 1/10, or as a decimal, 0.1. So a model maker wants to make a model of a ship. He will use a scale of 1 to 50. So that means, for every centimetre on the scale, that represents 50 centimetres in real life, or 1 inch represents 50 inches. The ship was 100 foot long, and 1 foot is 0.3 metres. Okay, so if the scale is 1 to 50, and in real life the ship was 100 foot long, then that means that is twice 50, so therefore we need to double the 1. So therefore the model is 2 foot. Now we know that 1 foot equals 0.3 metres. Now we want the model in centimetres. So first of all, what is 0.3 metres in centimetres? So 1 metre is 100 centimetres. So when we're converting metres to centimetres, we multiply by 100. So what is 0.3 multiplied by 100? If you struggle with this, write 0.3 and put some zeros after it. And we're moving the decimal point 2 positions, so 1, 2. So that becomes 30.0, in other words, 30. So 1 foot is 30 centimetres. So if we've said that the model is 2 foot, then that is going to be 2 times 30 centimetres, which is therefore 60 centimetres. Here are the video solutions for City and Guilds Level 2 Functional Skills Maths. This is sample 3 and this is section 2, which is the calculator section. So question number 1, what is 12% of 5,300? So since we can use a calculator, we can simply type it in as 0.12 multiplied by 5,300. 0.12, this is the percentage multiplier for 12%. It's the decimal equivalent of 12%, it's 12 divided by 100. And 0.12 times 5,300 is £636. So for question 2, just type this into your calculator and you should get an answer which is 10.7879. And if we want an answer to 3 decimal places, it means it's the 4th decimal place that we need to look at. It's greater than 5, so the column to the left is going to move up 1, so the 7 will become an 8, so 10.788. So for question number 3, let's just look at the A ones first of all. Now, remember that the line of a fraction means divide. So 315 over 100, that is 315 divided by 100, and that is 3.15. 1,500 divided by 924 is 1.623. So by looking at them as fractions, it's very difficult to know which one's bigger than the other, but if we can turn them into actual numbers or percentages, then here we don't need to work really. I wouldn't turn them into percentages because we can compare. It's very easy to work out which one's bigger. For example, we know 3.15 is bigger than 1.6, hopefully. So the next one, 200 over 57. 200 divided by 57 is 3.50 something. And 3 2/7, let's turn that into a top-heavy fraction. 3 times 7 plus 2, that is 23 over 7. And 23 divided by 7 is 3.28. So we want decreasing order. So which one is the biggest? So the biggest is 3.5. So 200. So it should go 200 over 57. The next biggest is 23 over 7, which was the 3 2/7. The next biggest is the 315 over 100, and the smallest is the 1500 over 924. And as we can see, that is answer B. Question number 4, it's quite a tricky question here. So what we need to remember is that the value, we're calling the value before the VAT was added the full amount, the 100% amount, and then 20% of that is added on. So what we're saying is that the £240 is the full price plus another 20%. So £240 is 120%, or perhaps it's easier to say that 120% is £240. So what we can therefore say is that we want to work out the 100% amount. So let's work out what the 10% amount was first of all. So that is 12 times less than 120, because 120 divided by 10 is 12. So let's divide this by 12, and that is 20. So if 10% is 20, then 100%, well, 100% is 10 times 10%, so it's going to be 10 times 20, which is 200. So and we can work this from backwards. £200, if we need to add another 20% on, or 10% is 20, so 20% is 40, 200 plus 40 is 240. So it's always worth remembering that when something includes VAT, you can consider that the 120% amount, not the 100% amount. So for question number 5, what fraction did the winner get? Well, the winner was candidate 1, so that's 602 out of a total of 602 plus 553 plus 350. So that is 602 out of 1505. Remember that the line of a fraction means divide. 602 divided by 1505 your calculator might say 2/5. It might say 0.4. If it says 0.4, then that is 4/10, and that can be simplified to 2/5. So he got 2/5 of the votes. Question number 6 is a bit of a strange one. A parent fills in a medical form and writes that the child is 3 meters tall. It's a 2-year-old child. In fact, if it was any person, 3 meters, that is, I'm only 1.78 meters, so it's almost double my height. That's absolutely ridiculous. So is the receptionist correct? The receptionist thinks the parent has made a mistake, so yes, the receptionist is correct. The parent is wrong. Okay, question number 7. So the photo needs to be 32 millimeters wide. So we're going from 8.9 centimeters, in other words, 89 millimeters. Remember, there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, so multiply that by 2. What percentage of the original width will the changed photo be? Well, it's going to be 32 out of sorry, let me scroll down a bit, 32/89. So to turn a fraction into a percentage, it's the top divided by the bottom multiplied by 100, and that comes to 35.955. So just round it to a suitable degree of accuracy, perhaps call that 36%, and that will be totally fine. Or you could say 35.96, that might work as well. Okay, question number 8. So the scale is 1 to 1250, so that means 1 millimeter on the drawing equals millimeters equals 1250 millimeters in real life. So what I would do first of all is convert these lengths into real life lengths. So 16 millimeters in real life is going to be 16 times 1250, which is 20,000 millimeters. And the other dimension for the 66 millimeters is going to be 66 times 1250, which is 82,500 millimeters. Now the area is going to be these two numbers multiplied together, but that will give me an answer in millimeters squared. It's probably easier at this stage to convert these into meters, so we can give our answer in meters squared. So if I divide by 10, I've got them in centimeters, so that's going to just chop off a 0, so that's 2,000 centimeters by 8250 centimeters. There are 100 centimeters in a meter, so divide these by 100, so 20 meters by 82.5 meters, and now multiply 20 by 82.5, and 20 multiplied by 82.5 is 1,650 square meters. Okay, so question number 9. So here it mentions density. Now, whenever it says density, you need to be thinking that density is mass divided by volume. So if we want to work out the mass, that is density times the volume equals the mass. Now we know the density is 700 kilos per cubic meter. So what is the volume? So it's just the multiplication of the three dimensions of the panel. 0.06 times 0.9 times 1.5, and that comes to 56.7 kilos. Question number 10. Okay, so first of all we need to work out how many minutes this turkey needs to be cooked for. So we know that 1 kg equals 45 minutes, and this turkey weighs 4.4 kilos. So that's going to be 45 minutes times by 4.4, and 45 times 4.4 is 198 minutes. Now on top of that we need this arbitrary 20 minutes and the resting time of 45, so 198 plus 65, and that comes to 263 minutes. So let's turn that into hours and minutes. So 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's 4 hours and 23 minutes. So let's add 4 hours and 23 minutes onto 130. Have I got any more space? Not inside the box. So at 130 plus 4 hours takes me to 530. 530 plus 23 minutes, that takes me to 5:53. And we need it to be ready for 6 p.m. So perfect. Cutting it a bit fine, but that's 7 minutes before 6. So has the cook allowed enough time? The answer is of course yes. Okay, question number 11. So first of all, if 1 cup of coffee is 85 grams of beans, and we want 120 cups, so what is the total mass of the beans needed? That's 120 multiplied by 85, which is 10,200 grams of coffee beans. Now the ratio is Brazilian to Kenyan, which is 4:1, so that means 4/5 are Brazilian, 1/5 is Kenyan, so we want 1/5 of 10200, which is 10200 divided by 5, and 10,200 divided by 5, that comes to 2,040 grams. Now if 1/5 is 2,040, then 4/5 is going to be 4 times 2040, which is 8,160 grams. So all we need to do now is, this is the mass of the Kenyan, this is the Brazilian. We want it in kilos, so we're going to divide these by 1,000. So the Brazilian will be 8.16 and the Kenyan 2.04. And that's that question taken care of. Okay, so question number 12. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is work out how much weight he needs to lose. So he's 98 kilos, he's 185 centimeters tall. So 184, 185 is halfway between these two lines here. And as we go across, it hits the line here, which to me is exactly halfway between 80 and 90. So he needs to get himself down to 85 kilos. That is just a healthy weight. So 98 kilos, take away 85 kilos is 13 kilos of weight loss. Okay, he can lose 0.75 kilos per week. So we need to work out how many weeks that will take. So how many 0.75s are in 13? So so show you working, there's not much space for it, but 30, let me just scroll down a bit more. So 13 divided by 0.75, that is a total of 18 weeks. Okay, so he can lose that weight in 18 weeks, and he can lose, he's burning 600 calories a week. So if a yoga class burns 200 calories, then 600 divided by 2, well, how many 200s go into 600? That is 3. So that's going to be 3 yogas per week. So if he's doing 18 weeks, that's going to be 18 times 3, which is 54 yoga classes. And how much does it say yoga classes cost? I think it was £6. £6, yep. So how much is that going to cost? 54 multiplied by 6 is £324. And how much money does he have? He has £360. Does he have enough money? Yes, he does. So the explanation is the yoga classes will cost £324, which is less than the £360 that he has available. Okay, question number 13. This is probably the hardest question in this particular test. I'm going to work out the area of this wall and the area of this wall. So this wall here is going to be 3.94 multiplied by 2.65, and that comes to 10.441. And the other wall that I'm interested in is 2.98 multiplied by 2.65, which is 7.897. And these are square meters. So the total area, I'm just writing around the edges as there's not a lot of space below and I don't want to be scrolling backwards and forwards the whole time. So that's 10.441 plus 7.897. So the total area is 18.338 square meters. Well, actually, the total area is double that because there are two of these walls and two of these walls. However, one of each type of wall is painted and one of each type of wall is wallpapered. So I'm painting and separately I'm wallpapering this area here. Now for the painting, we've got more than adequate coverage. One 2.5 litre tin covers 30 square meters. We only need 18, so that's just one tin. So the paint, after all that, is just nice and easy. It's just one tin. So the paint is going to be £16 worth of paint. So the paint was never the problem, it's the wallpapering. So we know that the wallpaper is 52 centimeters wide. So first of all, how many strips do we need if we're covering 3.94, and how many strips do we need if we're covering 2.98? Now the width of the wallpaper is in centimeters, so it makes sense to turn these into centimeters as well. So how many 52s go into 394? So 394 divided by 52 is 7.5. So we're going to round that up, call that 8 strips. Better to have too much wallpaper than not enough, of course. And the other dimension, 298 divided by 52, which is 5.7. So that's approximately 6 strips. Now each strip needs to be 2.65 meters tall. So we've got 14 strips in total. So we need 14 lots of 2.65 meters, and 14 multiplied by 2.65 is 37.1 meters. So we need 37.1 meters worth of wallpaper. A roll of wallpaper is 10 meters. So how many tens go into 37.1? Well, 3.7, but I think it's fairly obvious we're going to need 40 meters, so that is 4 rolls. So 4 rolls, £10 per roll, so that is going to be £40 for the wallpaper. So paint is 16, the wallpaper is 40, 16 plus 40 is £56. And so I forgot what the budget was. So the budget was £75. So can the tenant decorate the room for the budget set? Yes. Cost of paint plus wallpaper is £56, and £56, that is less than £70. Okay, so lots of fairly tricky calculations. That's what you're really being examined on, rather than this sort of waffly statement at the end. But as I say, quite a tricky question, that one. Okay, question 14. So all we really need to do is just plot this information on the graph paper here. I'm going to have weight going horizontally and age going vertically. I just need to look at the maximum and the minimum. So first of all, for weight, 180 to 720, that is a range of 540. And we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 squares going across. Which is a bit of a struggle really, because I don't want to waste, well, I don't want to waste lots of space by having lots of blank bits, but I can't see any other way other than going up in hundreds here. So 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. So all of these are in hundreds. I just can't really write small enough with this kind of fat nib that I've got. But I'm only really going up to 720, so a lot of this is just going to be wasted. So I said horizontally that is going to be the weight in grams, so I'll label that weight, and that is in grams. And up the side is age in days. So what is the minimum and maximum here? The minimum is 14, maximum is 56. And again, I've got 11 squares, so I think it's probably easier just to go up in, fives. Does that work? 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Doesn't quite work. So I can go up in fives, but I can't start at 0, so I'll start at 5. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, so time to plot the data. So I've got 650. So there is 600, there is 50 there. I've got 340, 28. So that's going to be 2 squares along from 300 up to 28, which is going to be there. 480, 42, 480, 42 is there. 360, 20, there's 300, so 3 along and 20, 1, 2, 3. 660, so 3 along from 600, and that is on 50, so 1, 2, 3 there. 720, so 1 line to the right of 700, and that is 56. 50, 55, 56. 420, so that's 1 to the right of 400 up to 28, which is 2 down from 30. 1, 2, so there. And 180, which is 1 to the left of 200 up to 14. 10, there's 15, there we go, perfect. Okay, so I've plotted the data, and what we need to do is we want to estimate the age of a kitten that weighs 460 grams. So what I need to do first of all is put in a line of best fit, a line that cuts through the centre of the data, trying to keep an equal number of x's above and below the line. So I could ask 10 people to do a line, they would come up with 10 different lines, but they might all be fine. Ideally your line will be a bit thinner than mine. You're more likely to get a more accurate answer if you do so. There we go. Anyway, that will do, as long as your line looks something along those lines. And it's got a weight of 460. So let's go to a weight of 460. So that's 3 lines to the left of 400. 1, 2, 3. Again, if you use a ruler and a sharp pencil, you can do a really thin line, which will guarantee more accuracy. So again, hard to say due to my very fat line, but I'm going to go with 1 below sort of midway point between 30 and 40. So for me, that is going to be, this is 34 days. It does say just checking here, it does say age in days. So what is 34 days? I tell you what, why don't we just round that up to 35 days? Because 35 days can be divided by 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5, so 5 weeks old. So yeah, I've kind of fiddled it a little bit here, but again, I don't think there's any problems with the way I've done the axes here. My line of best fit might not be exactly the same as yours. Your line of best fit is probably better because you would have used a sharp pencil instead of a big fat red line. But you're getting the marks from showing you can interpret the data using a line of best fit by drawing a vertical line out from the weight that's given and across to get the age in days. We just need to convert that age into weeks. So if you've got an answer that is close-ish to 5 weeks, then as long as you've shown the right method, then you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, so question number 15. So a congestion charge has been introduced and we've now got this data here. So we can see that before the mode was 1, which means that it was more likely that you would see only one person in a car at any one time, whereas now the mode is 2. So we can see if we're going on the mode, it looks like the congestion charge is effective because previously it was more likely that you'd see only one person driving around, whereas now it's more after the congestion charge. It seems more likely that you'll see a car with 2 people in it. So comment number 1, the charge is effective as mode has increased from 1 to 2. Now let's take a look at the mean. So for the mean, it's going to be the total number of people travelling divided by the total number of cars. So the total number of cars is all of these numbers added together. Sometimes they tell you what that value is, so we're going to have to add those up. 17 plus 54 plus 14 plus 8 plus 2, that is 95. And the total number of people, well, we've got 17 cars with 1 person in it, so that is a total of 17 people. We've got 54 cars with 2 people in it, so that is 2 lots of 54, which is 108. So here we're just multiplying the number of people in the car by the number of cars seen. So 3 times 14 is 42, 4 8s are 32, 5 2s are 10, and 6 zeros are 0. So the total number of people is the sum of these numbers here, and if we add these up, that comes to 209. So the mean is 209 divided by 95, and 209 divided by 95 is 2.2. So that is the mean. So presumably we knew the mean before. The mean was 1.65, so we can say the congestion charge is effective as the mean has also increased as well as the mode. So it's increased from, what was it, 1.65? I've forgotten it already. Yeah, 1.65 up to 2.2. There we go. And that is the end of this section.